Space used to be the final frontier. Now it's just corporate real estate with a xenomorph problem. Welcome to Alien Earth, where Ridley Scott's Nightmare Fuel just moved into our zip code. And I just watched its first two episodes, Neverland and Mr. October. Folks, this is part body horror, part cyberpunk, corporate satire, and part what if Peter Pan was run by Elon Musk. So the year is 2120. This is 2 years before the first Alien film. And Earth is basically owned by 5 megacorporations. So forget governments. We've gone full dystopian HOA. And Prodigy is the newest of these corporations, ran by the new kid on the trillionaire block. Its founder, Boy Kavalier, played with unnerving smarm by Samuel Blecken, is the youngest trillionaire in history. He's like if Tony Stark and Willy Wonka had a baby, and then that baby pushed your grandma down the stairs because it was good for business. But what's his big innovation that he's working on? That would be hybrids, putting the consciousness of a child into a synthetic body. But why kids? It's because apparently their brains can handle the transfer. So it's asking a lot of these actors, these adult actors, to act like children. But from what I've seen, they've done an excellent job so far. And if there's multiple seasons with these characters, you're not going to have any awkward puberty moments like we have with Stranger Things, where they're still in high school and they're probably in their mid-20s now. I mean, that's what makes the show kind of interesting, the ethics behind putting the mind of a child into an adult synthetic. I am looking forward to seeing how that plays out in future episodes. And it's an interesting point that they bring up in the opening crawl of the show, that there are 3 types, the hybrids, which they mention at the bottom, the synthetics that we've known for about every Alien film, and then there are cybernetically enhanced humans, which we have not come across in Alien, and I'll come to that point later on. But let's go back to Boy Cavalier's hybrids. They're full-size, synthetic, nearly indestructible shells where the minds of dying kids get uploaded. Our main hybrid is Marcy, who renames herself Wendy, if you don't get the on-the-nose Peter Pan reference. And she's played by Sydney Chandler, who does an excellent job with her acting. You're in a synthetic body with the mind of a child. I think in the first 2 episodes, she's done great. Like, she has that wide-eyed sort of innocence to her, but also the awkwardness of how she emotes as a synthetic. It's actually a pretty interesting performance. I mean, Boy Cavalier, it's known that he's obsessed with Peter Pan. His research island is literally called Neverland. The other hybrids that follow Marcy into this new procedure, they're known as the Lost Boys. But in episode 1, Neverland, we're thrown into this new Earth where Wendy and the other hybrids are basically corporate property. They can't see their families again, but hey, they've got superhuman strength, speed, hearing, and durability. Which of course means someone's going to immediately throw them into life or death missions, because that's how sci-fi works, right? We're in the Alien universe. A perfect excuse arrives when deep spaceship, the Maginot, owned by Weyland-Yutani, crashes into Prodigy City. And Weyland-Yutani, as we know, as our favorite Evil Suits corporation, is one of the 5 corporations that basically own Earth. And Maginot has a nightmare buffet aboard it. You have xenomorphs, carnivorous plants, blood-sucking leech balloons, and my personal favorite, the tentacle eyeball monster, climbs out of a dead cat's socket. In episode 2, Mr. October, it doubles down. Wendy joins this rescue mission because her brother Joe, a field medic, is out there. And it's kind of interesting that they didn't pull any punches or wait for a big reveal when they finally do meet up. She basically reveals right there that she is his dead sister in a synthetic body. So Joe naturally doesn't immediately believe his dead sister is now a fully grown synthetic woman. Along with the ride with the Lost Boys is Kirsch, who we're introduced to in the first episode, played by Timothy Oliphant, with fabulous synthetic hair that feels like a nod to Roy Batty in Blade Runner. And speaking of Blade Runner, I'm hoping we get a Tyrell Corporation Easter egg somewhere in here. He's one of the most interesting characters. I'm looking forward to seeing how he pans out as well. Timothy Oliphant, he can be kind of wacky, he can be kind of stoic, and this is kind of an interesting role for him as a synthetic. But after digging into the ship's logs and everything, Kirsch does find a clutch of alien eggs and orders Wendy to drop the rescue to secure them. Because we all know how well that all works out. We do get flashbacks throughout both episodes about what happened on that ship. You get a scene of the crew together and then everything going to shit, and I think it's going to fill in everything in between in flashbacks, because we do have one surviving crew member that is trying to secure the alien, and that is Morrow. So clearly you think he's a synthetic, but there was already another synthetic on board in that first episode. And how I was saying earlier, how they were talking about synthetics, cyborgs, and hybrids. Well, we already know what a synthetic is. We're already introduced into a hybrid. So naturally, I'm thinking Morrow is probably a cyborg. He has this one hand that's like metal. He can turn into different things, like the T-1000 in Terminator 2. He doesn't seem like the normal synthetic. And going along with the Peter Pan thing, it just seems like he's being set up to be the Captain Hook of this show because of his hand, I think. There's not much known about his character at the moment, but that's where I'm seeing the parallels with this character. And he's one of the most interesting. He works for Weyland Yutani, and I'm just kind of interested to see how his character pans out. Because there's a lot of villains in this, so I'm interested to see where everyone fits in this sort of puzzle of a story. But they find the eggs, and the episode ends with a Xenomorph ambush, Joe plummeting into a chasm, and Wendy diving in after him. All while Tool's stink fist blares over the credits, which is a interesting vibe shift, I guess. The first episode had Mob Rules by Black Sabbath, so clearly someone in the editing bay is living their best 90s alt-metal playlist life. Now this show really does nail the claustrophobic horror of Alien and the chaotic action of Aliens. I love the opening where it's like the first Alien, where it's just revealing the title of both Alien and Earth, and you get kind of like these flashes of what happened in the previous episode. And when the search and rescue mission is going on and you hear sort of like echoes of James Horner's Alien score, it goes chung 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 chung. The corporate satire is sharp. The creature effects are nasty in some of the best ways, although I do have a critique. The alien looks kind of dry and rubbery. I'm used to seeing the aliens being sort of like slimy and everything. It looks a little fake, but maybe that'll be explained later because, I don't know, maybe it came out of a synthetic. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here because we had the other synthetic that was acting weird on board of that ship that crashed, but maybe it was just a stylistic choice though. It's like kind of an interesting set design as well because we've never really seen Earth in the Alien franchise. It does feel like a little bit of Blade Runner crashed into Akira, I guess. The hybrids are fascinating. They're unstoppable physically, but still mentally kids, especially the way they interact with the creatures in the second episode. One is looking at this plant creature and really has no fear, but one of the girls, it encounters the eyeball monster and it's freaks her out. Like she is utterly scared, but they don't know their full capabilities yet. And I think like the acting amongst these Lost Boys is fantastic. They're kind of just laying around and their legs are in awkward positions like a kid would be when they're fidgeting around, and it makes sense. But I'm really interested to see where they go with this crew of kids and adult synthetic bodies. Like, I mean, you might get moments where they're tearing through walls like Terminators, and then also making these impulsive emotional choices that could doom everyone. And also, I mean, Timothy Oliphant as a smug, morally questionable synthetic. Yes, inject that into my veins. Do I have any complaints about this other than like the design choices of the Xenomorph? It does seem Joe, the brother of Wendy, has a lot of plot armor in this. He conveniently gets out of a lot of Xenomorph situations, and it probably including like where he got tackled by a Xenomorph off of a ledge. Like, you know, he's probably not dead. But there was a few other moments, like an elevator opening and shutting like immediately when he's running from a Xenomorph. Morrow basically saving him, and how the Xenomorph basically just instantly rips everyone apart, but doesn't instantly rip him apart. That sort of took me out of it a bit, but I mean, that's one of the few criticisms I had. And I will say, like, the Xenomorph is the most ruthless. I've never seen such savage Xenomorph kills in any of the movies compared to this show. This show is like balls to the wall gore and just feral Xenomorph carnage. The one where he like shoots his like mouth into someone's face and it's still attached to the face and he's whipping him around. It's just wild. Wild that this is the most carnage we've seen from a Xenomorph in a TV show and not a movie. And people might complain about the musical choices over the end credits, and you know, I kind of get it, but this is also a different format. It's a TV show. Yeah, you kind of want that hard-hitting music at a cliffhanger and like want to hook people into the next episode. I think it's fine. And then another gripe I've seen is like the direction. It doesn't feel like an Alien movie. Well, to be fair, all the Alien movies were directed by different people with different aesthetics, and they all feel slightly different. And this is Noah Hawley's take, and he definitely has a style when he's directing a show or running a show. And I think it fits fine. I am fine with especially the way he does the dissolves and everything. I kind of dig that in a way. But what about episode 3, Metamorphosis? Okay, so it's theory time. The description says a team returns with unexpected cargo. There's an awkward experiment and a new talent emerges. So let's break down this description and kind of see if we can theorize something. Unexpected cargo. I'm betting it's either a mutated Xenomorph variant from the tentacle-eyed horror or one of the hybrids get infected. The idea of a Xenomorph gestating in a synthetic body, sort of terrifying and franchise breaking in the best way. And I already theorized that maybe this is synthetic on the ship that crashed was the one infected with that Xenomorph bit. I'm just spitballing here. Okay, so awkward experiment. Boy Kavalier is 100% going to test something on the Lost Boys. Probably merging alien DNA with hybrid tech to make a next-gen soldier. And by awkward, they probably mean grotesque and morally bankrupt. Let's not forget the alien resurrection scene with all the clone Ripleys. And new talent. I mean, Wendy's hacking skills might be a huge thing going forward. She already jacked into a service bot like it was nothing. I think she's going to override corporate systems in a ways that Kavalier probably didn't expect. Maybe even take control over the synthetics or alien containment. And because it's Alien, I fully expect one of the heroes to be secretly working with Weyland Yutani. Maybe a mid-episode betrayal leading to a corporate standoff inside the Maginot wreckage, with aliens closing in, of course. So yeah, Alien Earth is shaping up to be one of the best entries in a franchise in years. I mean, that's including Romulus, and Romulus I thought was pretty good. It's scary, smart, and sort of grimly funny. And I'm totally looking forward to the rest of the season. But what did you think of the first 2 episodes? Drop your theories for episode 3 in the comments below. Hit that like button if you want more Alien coverage. And subscribe, because if a facehugger gets me mid-review, you're gonna want to see that. I figure I might come out with weekly episodes on this show. I'm really just a huge Alien fan. I'm a big Noah Hawley fan. This is one of the most anticipated things I've been looking forward to this year. That's among like Superman and Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. And I love to theorize about things that are not based on already existing material. So if you want to see these weekly videos, definitely subscribe. I'll just keep doing it. Make sure you like, because that lets me know that you're down with this. And I'll see you later. Bye.